we're going to start with the national anthem of Liberia, as well as Australia Fair. Glorious land of liberty, shalom. We like to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander as the First Nation people. We honor them as the traditional owners and custodians of the land we call Australia today. We recognize them for their deep connection to land culture, tradition, community, and family. We pay our respect to the elders past and present. We salute them for upholding as well as maintaining the world's oldest ongoing culture in history. I was just saying that today is a very unique occasion. The reason why it is unique, over the years, we have had lots of community-based organizations. But this is the first time that we are having a non-governmental organization being launched in Queensland. So as you sit in your seat today, you're part of history. And we're going to have someone who is specially designated to go into more details. There is a purpose for every gathering, and the reason for which we are here, the best person to do that is a young man. There is a saying, they say the wisdom of Solomon got nothing to do with the age of Methuselah. It's a young, without much ado. Please put your hands together and welcome Simeon Sebastian. Come on.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. I also want to use this opportunity to welcome you again for taking up your busy schedule, although the MC has made that very clear. I'm very pleased and honored to be standing before you today to launch Community Service Liberia and to also give you a brief history, because if we decide to do everything that brought us here today, we wouldn't leave this hall until maybe 12 midnight. In 2010, the opportunity was given to a group of Liberians to travel overseas to study in Australia. having traveled this far, knowing the kind of a beautiful culture, traditions, and history this country has been built on, we decided to borrow the tremendous efforts of the community for which we belong to. We decided to look deep into the cultures and histories of this country to see what we can learn from there. Because just going through the walls of universities is just not enough to inform your community back home. So then the thought came to mind, what do I export back home? So then we decided to establish Community Service Liberia. Having gone through a lot of community work, liaising with friends, well-wishers within the community, then we established Community Service Liberia back home as a pilot project to enable us to unroll what we have gathered in Australia. Fortunately, for some people and for my country, unfortunately, my wife was conceived a twin. And so my journey to return home became very far. And so then Australia decided to give me an opportunity to stay and to pursue higher education. And then I took the opportunity again to say, well, this is not the end of community service. This is something that we know is practical. We can experience it. We have seen it. It has worked for the people of Australia. And so we must make it work for Liberia. So then I decided to discuss this with my wife and say, how can we go about this? And she said, it's practical, but it's a task. It's a task in a sense that it's in a new community. How are you going to do that? Then I said, oh, okay. Do not forget that I'm from the University of Queensland and I did community development. So that is a tool that I have to my advantage. And so I decided to liaise with people within the community. And one of the main reasons was that I did not exalt myself above those who I was collaborating with at here. I gave them the opportunity to make the decisions, to find a path that we can ride on and make our community a better society. And they gave me all the support. They gave me all the enthusiasm. They made us to move on. And today we have Community Service Liberia. And I'm very proud and grateful to you all. This wouldn't have been possible, not at all. It wouldn't have been possible because I know from reading histories and traditions, many good ideas and noble dreams are falling apart because you don't have people who believe in those dreams and ideas along with you. But you have. So you are the one who established this organization, not me. History will just record that I had a vision or I had an idea, but I'm not the one. You are the foundation of community service and not me. So with not much ado, I would like to take my podium. And today, I'm pleased that we are gathered here today. We have community presidents in the midst. We have our Australian friends here. We are welcome. Thank you very much for all your support. Thank you to my wife for encouraging me. Thank you very much to my friends. I think you can do better than that. We have somebody very special with us today to do our keynote speech and our induction today. He happens to be the board chairman. There is a board that governs the activities of community services, and he happens to be the board chairman. Our induction officer is presently a student at the Australian National University in Canberra. He's a postgraduate student there. And before coming to Australia for further studies, he had not just talked the talk, he also walked the walk. From his days of student activism with one of the, if not the premier youth organization in Liberia, which is the Federation of Liberian Youth, fly for start. And with his work,
He also worked with the Kofi Annan Institute in terms of peace and conflict resolution on the African continent. But presently he's on a sabbatical because he served as the Assistant Foreign Minister of Liberia for Afro-Asian Affairs. And we are so pleased to have him here, taking time off his busy schedule to come and do us the honor of inducting us into office today. I can say it's such a wonderful privilege. There are some little things that you might even get to know about him. Besides being a man who talks and walks the walk, he's a man of letters. You're going to hear more about that. But please, put your hands together with a very loud round of applause and welcome Mr. George Wisner.
Good evening. One of the temptations of inviting a Liberian is we love to make speeches. I'm sure when you invited me, you knew there was a risk of hearing another boring speech. But I'll try not to be boring. I'll try to be as brief as possible and then get on with the task. Thank you, Mr. MC, for your generous introduction of myself. Again, I want to thank, firstly, our Australian friends. I was really touched and even inspired more when I came earlier and then later on saw some of our friends walking in. And I said, wow, this suggests how community services and our members have lived in the community. And I think it's a good thing. But one thing that is recurrent whenever I get to talk to Liberians in the diaspora, whether it's here in Brisbane or in Melbourne, that I did on our Independence Day, or whether it's in the US or anywhere, is that I try to remind Liberians about the unique opportunities that we have. Firstly, a unique opportunity from a country who has had an illustrious history, though punctuated by civil unrest and calamity, which has forced many of you to seek other homes in Australia and other places. Yet, we have something to be proud of and to be inspired about, to want to do more, as Mr. Corner and his colleagues have demonstrated by the information of this organization. Firstly, we are the oldest independent African republic, established in 1847, when the continent of Africa was still being discussed for partitioning and colonization. We stood as the symbol of hope, the beacon of self-rule and dignity, self-governance. 1847, the oldest independent African republic, and the second oldest black republic in the world after Haiti. That was a proud history. And even with the Berlin Conference of the 1880s that partitioned Africa, Liberia was untouched, championing the cause of the continent, carrying the burden of Africa on her shoulders, and having to prove to the world that the black man is capable of self-governance. Liberia, even during the course of 2 devastating world wars, fought in Europe and some parts of Africa. Liberia sided with those who were champions of freedom against Nazism and fascism. We remembered how our country, though defenseless, not with the mighty armory, stood up and challenged Hitler, aligning with the rest of the free world, even at the risk of Liberia being totally destroyed. We know how Mr. Hitler sent a submarine off the coast of Liberia to shell and destroy the entire country. Even when we did not have an armed force to stand against tyranny, we still stood up for freedom. We can be proud of it. Liberia was part of the formation of the United Nations that settled the chaos in the world, that set up an ambitious plan to have a mechanism to resolve international conflict and disputes. Rely on the African tradition of conflict resolution. Liberia, again, as the symbol of Black Africa, was among those who penned the charter establishing the United Nations. And even when most Western democracies, as exemplary as they were, was still grappling with the issue of women emancipation and women empowerment, Liberia again stood as an example to the rest of the world, not just Africa, appointing the first female head of the General Assembly of the United Nations in the person of Angie Brooks Randall in the 1960s. You have something to be proud of. When the rest of Africa was not even dreaming about a female president, Liberia elected the first female head of an African state in the person of the current president, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, thus giving hope and inspiration to many young girls and ladies on the continent of Africa to believe in themselves again. On a continent dominated by males, Liberia showed that we are not only the oldest independent African republic, but we can be an example for the rest of the world. Even in the midst of our conflict, we were still setting example. Today, Malawi has followed as the second African country to have a female president. Liberia was the first country, even when Western democracies are still struggling, to have the first female head of the Supreme Court in the person of Gloria Scott. Liberia had the first Attorney General female on the African continent. The first police director female on the African continent. We demonstrated over and again. Of course, I need not tell you about George Okonwia and Liberia exploits as the world's greatest soccer star. But what I'm trying to drive at is war, the civil conflict, had tarnished this reputation so much. It's put the country in flames. But in spite of that, you have been resilient. Find yourselves in a strange country, but yet keeping the torch burning. When I received an invitation to come here today to launch this organization, even though I live in Canberra, and Canberra is very far away, I couldn't miss this opportunity to again applaud you for lifting high the Lone Star banner. Be an example. But the best example you can give and appreciation you can give to our friends from Australia that welcome you with open arms is to respect the rules, the laws of Australia. Is to be a good, I would say, co-citizens of Australians. And to share with them the beauty of the Liberian culture and the African tradition by extension. Seize every opportunity you can to demonstrate that you are a civilized human being and you are capable of contributing to the civilization of mankind as you've done. Community services is a very good example. I encourage you to work along with Mr. Comer and his team and with our Australian brothers. Mr. Comer, I'm sure your organization is not to usurp the function of other community organizations, but to work with community organizations to enhance and share the African traditions. Let me take this time before I conclude to thank you, my Australian brothers and sisters, for your support on this day. You don't know how much it means to these Liberians. Far away from home, but thinking positively. I'm sure with building social cohesion amongst not just Liberians, but African groups, you also help to make Australia a safer and better place. An intercultural and truly international mosaic for us all. Australia has set a very good example. And I say that with all sincerity, because I've worked with Australians even before coming to Australia, and I'm not surprised. I encourage you to continue to work with our brothers from the African continent, because I believe that we both have something to offer each other, and we can share and make the world an even better place, Australia being an example. Thank you for inviting me. I now call on the officials to be inducted. Marie-Francois Mokarangu. I hereby invite you as treasurer of community services and being incorporated. The board of the people with diligence and make the country continue proud and Australia proud people. Women, secretary. Oh, that's the mother one. Well, you have a very powerful position as secretary, nucleus of the organization. I trust that you will serve with dedication and commitment. You're going to make your country proud, the African proud, and you're going to contribute positively to the development of Australia. Congratulations. That's the money woman. The person that you're very friendly with. Monica Do, you have a very, very important position as chief accountant. If you get the finance wrong, everything goes wrong. I hope you get it right. I invite you, and I trust that you will serve with diligence, with commitment. You make your country proud, your country is proud, and you contribute positively to the development and growth of Australia. And, okay, the Vice President missed the flight, so the Vice President is here. I would like someone to come up and just receive it on behalf of the Vice President.
My wife, can you please receive it?
You see, Simeon says his wife is not going to be left out of this. Koma, thank you for coming up the proxy for Yada Sherry, and I hope you convey to her our gratitude and appreciation of her serving as Vice President, and we hope that she will serve with diligence and commitment. She will make her country proud, the country proud, and be positive in terms of development of Australia. So you are hereby adopted.
Of the officials that were just inducted into office, the person who's going to speak for us, believe it or not, he's not only active in the community, but he's also a scientist. Normally, people who are scientists, you think about them as being people with white robe and they are toiling in some dark room and peering at some microscope the whole day, and they don't really talk to people. But this guy, don't get me wrong, he still peering the microscope. He still do all the, I almost spoke a Liberian English, all the yama things that means he does all the different things. But he still is part of our community. So please put your hands together and graciously welcome my colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Pam. I really appreciate that. Please allow me to start by extending a special thank you to MDA for welcoming us with open arms. I would like to thank leaders of all African communities that are here present. A special thanks to all those who have taken their time to be here and to help with this day of success. Thank you. To our family and friends, members of the Liberian community of Queensland, thank you for coming and giving your support. I want to extend a special greeting and congratulations to our members in Liberia who could not make it here today, but they are people that have worked tirelessly and have committed countless hours to make this day a success. And wherever they are, they know we are with one another in spirit. Thank you. A very special and a big thank you to Mr. Wisner for inducting us into office and for the inspiring speech you just gave. Because with no doubt, I didn't know all about my country and I didn't know how great it is. But it's a lesson learned, and I guess majority of us will leave here today knowing that we should walk out there as Liberian and walk with pride that we have contributed a lot to the world. They say it takes a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And today, we have taken that step. Today is a very special day for Community Service Liberia, and it is a great privilege, and I'm extremely honored to serve as the first president for this organization. A few years ago, this was the idea or the dream of one man. But today, this dream is coming true. It's coming to life, and we are all involved in it. At Community Service Liberia Incorporated, or Comslib for short, we identify ourselves as a multinational, non-governmental, not-for-profit organization that is currently based in Liberia and in Australia. And we look forward to establishing in the United States in the near future. Comslib is made up a body of multinational professionals with the task of rendering professional services to communities through collaboration with community-based organizations. We identify issues that are of concern to community, develop strategies to resolve these issues, and then work in partnership with community organizations to implement these projects or strategies. In Community Service Liberia, we believe in working with community and not for community. And that's something you should think about because it might be a bit confusing. We work with community and not for them. That means we don't go on doing their work, but we work in partnership with them. We believe it is our calling to promote peace, development, and happiness in community. We believe we have been called to break the cycle of disconnectedness amongst the various community groups. Community Service Liberia is open to work with other African communities and not just the Liberian community. For the time being, Community Service Liberia Incorporated has identified 8 projects or 8 community economic development projects. These projects are community library and community mentoring and tutoring. Community library and community mentoring and tutoring are 2 of our projects or short-range projects that are expected to be implemented in the near future. With this, we look at working with community to help engage our young people into leadership and decision-making roles. We look at working with them to become reliable, accountable, and responsible young leaders that will foster the longevity of our community, as well as uphold our ethos and culture, or cultural values. The youth are the future of every community and nation. Therefore, we see it as a duty of care to help these young people reach their full potential. Sport brings people together. This is one of the reasons we support community sport. As one of our projects, Community Bulletin is our 4th project. This is because we believe as Africans, it's about time that we recognize the outstanding work and achievement of our community, the gifted talents of our youth, the academic skills of the young people in our community. Community Bulletin will be used to showcase the work of these young people and to give them courage to continue, as well as inspire other young people to follow similar paths. Many of us complain without even realizing how fortunate we are living in this country. Till you travel or learn about the struggles that others go through around the world, you won't realize how blessed you are to be living in Australia. In Australia, we don't worry about clothes. We don't worry about shoes. We don't worry about school supplies. There's a child at the moment, as I'm speaking, in Liberia, who's awaiting your donation to be blessed, who is awaiting your donation to have the courage to continue with their studies. This is why we identify community reciprocal relief as a way of you being involved in helping the development of Liberia, as a way of you changing the life of someone in Liberia. Because we will all think like if you have to have the highest amount or the greatest organization to make big difference. But the little you do can mean a lot in someone's life. So the next 3 of our projects is community refrigeration, community laundry, and community gardens. For more information on these projects, please feel free to visit our website on www.communitysserviceliberiaincorporated.org for more information. And just know that it's still under development, but you should have more information about the projects we intend to run, and you can contact us for further information as well. These are a few of our short-term, medium-term, and long-term plans. However, our services are not just limited to these. we are open to work with the community to bring change that benefits the community. Finally, I will reiterate that we have not come to change the work of the community's organization. We have not come to change the work of the Liberia Community Association of Queensland, neither have we come to change the work of the subgroups. No, we have come to support our community. We have come to help bring unity. We have come so that we can all work together to push this community to an unimaginable height. We have come to provide a platform through which every Liberian in Queensland and in Australia as a whole will play a role in the transformation of Liberia. And lastly, we have come to help you recognize and utilize the vast opportunity that Almighty God has blessed you with by being in this country. We are a big but young organization. We cannot do anything or any of these alone. So we ask that you come and give your support. And with that I mean, like what you're doing now, turning up for this induction program. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yedi. I'm sure with all of those plans, if you can get even 50% of those plans implemented, it's going to make a whole lot of difference. And I'm sure with the participation and the support of all of you here, history is being made. And I can tell you for sure, a lot of time when history is being made, people who are making that history don't know that they are making history. It's only later they get to know about it. So, time is fast spent, we gotta move a bit fast. So without much ado, let's welcome Mr. George Wishner for the second time. He got a surprise package for us.
A little surprised though, because the cat is already out of the bag. But I'm sure as you were just walking in and you looked to your right on the table, you saw some books on the table. I just coincidentally had to be the author of the book. So the book is called When the Heart Decides. I'll just, to summarize what the book is about, I'll just read what one of the reviewers said about the book. The reviewer says, "It is a classic African epic that recounts the reality of war with a dash of romance and Christianity." So, it just summarizes everything. When you were to hear from me, I will tell you, it's a book that recounts the struggle of a young woman who must decide between honoring the integrity of her family's name and following her heart into the arms of a notorious rebel commander. It recounts the experience of Liberia, but in a romantic fashion, especially for those who love to love. So the book has poetry at the back as a bonus, apart from the beautiful love story that you follow between two people, and then also get an insight, because many of you, I believe, like myself, are very young when the war broke, so at least it gives you an idea of some of the social and political undercurrents of the war, and you get to know that what appears to be national conflict is nothing but interpersonal and group conflict that usually explodes. So all in this book get to find this logo. I brought some copies based on the demand of Mr. Comer and his colleagues, and they are just a little, a token. You're not buying it because you're buying it from me. You're buying it because of the innovation behind it, the encouragement to continue, because it's published by our university in the States, and it takes some money to publish it and get it here to the program. So the paperback is $15, and the hardcover bag is $25 Australian. Alternatively, it is $13.95 US and $23.95 US. So, and then our autograph. People, let me just read one poem to tell you, for you ladies. I chose this poem for you. Never trust the beauty of love at night. Hey! Never trust the beauty of love at night. I was strolling after a day so tight. As the sun retired and the day folded, my path did not fully rekindle. Darkness hovered, whiteness is covered. The faintest gleam is glimmered to beam. 'Twas in the middle of the night I saw the image of a posturing light. In the garden to my left, while two birds danced to my left, I could not help but glance at the brilliance of the sight. They sang and sang with passion. No holiday is better than melody. The tide was high as the moon was nigh. Fantasy and ecstasy combined with urgency. In the heat of the moment, heaven was no emergency. Eyes sparkled as the starlight twinkled. Love seemed more beautiful than beauty. As daylight broke and I awoke, back to the garden my legs did run, beauty of the rising sun. The birds that sang and danced before were by no chance to be found again. Instead, they were cat and a dog that never dared to be whole. The night was night and judgment was blanket. Never trust the beauty of love in the fairest of night. It's just one of the many poems.
As Josh was reading the poem, I kept on laughing. You know why I was not laughing?
No.
I was just wondering whether you can trust the beauty of love in the day. and you know, another thought that was occurring to me was like, for him, a guy, to transform his mind into that of a lady and write a love story from the female point of view is one of the beauty of being a writer. Thank you very much, George, and I can sincerely say we are proud of you. We'd like to see more Liberians coming up. We got stories. Our stories are disappearing simply because we don't write them. We're going to give 2 minutes to each of our special community representatives that we invited here. We have, first of all, we got special remarks. We got special remarks by a very special person. So we call on our president and make him feel like our president as he's on the platform. Please put your hands together for Mr. Francis J, the president.
Okay. 2 minutes, right?
Yes.
1 minute already go.
Thank you, Mr. MC. Talking is not my thing, so I'll just make it sweet and brief. First of all, I'm very humble and honored to be here. It's a great pleasure to come to such a great ceremony. Many times I sit back and I look inside and ask myself, though we've been through a whole lot since 1847, but yet still that little nation is just a blessed nation that produces so much of a smart and intelligent people every time. But our home or far away from home. And that's why we are here in Australia. We still see how much we have Liberians that have got the determination, they got the strength, they got the courage, and always wanting to do more and more. And not only just for ourselves, but how we can also give back to the people who have so much work on us. It's such a great country, beautiful country in the world. Looking at how much education we have received and how much our children and what we intend to still do for our future and our children also to come after us. So guys, I just want to say thank you very much. We were just so able to come up with the idea. It's such a wonderful one, and I can assure you that we're very open and happy to work with you in any way possible we can. Because I know it's not just for having a community like you, but it's also what our heart is actually asking us to do and helping our people back home in Liberia. So my 2 minutes is up, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The thing that I like about him is his humility. Just a humble guy. We call upon Mr. Chu Ravas, President of Zukakia. He's a teacher by profession.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just like you rightly said, you know, when you are an old teacher, we love the talking anyway. But because we're still limited to the 2 minutes, I do appreciate the time and the knowledge and also the vision for our brothers and sisters of Liberia. For me personally, I'm proud of them. I know that it's not a strange thing. Liberians can do it. And like our brothers coming out, you know, author coming from Liberia, writing a book, having asked you to put this thing together, and someone is coming putting an NGO together. It's not an easy thing to do. But these are dreams that we expect our brothers and sisters to do. And equally so, don't relent. You have your personal thing as an individual. It's not everyone here will come to write a book or to organize an NGO. But as an individual, as a Liberian, you can do little in the community. Like I'm surprised at the list of community members within Liberian society here. Like people are organizing themselves. It could be 2 or 3 groups. Those are all getting towards unity. And this is what we want. So as the president of Zukakia, it's just a community. I put a few brothers together and sisters together. We just visit one another. And we sit there because I fear that we have come a further distance and we need people to talk to. Sometimes you sit home, you don't even know common thing. It could be like just talk to one of your colleagues or just talk to someone. So we do that every month, and we go to visit homes and we just have to share and have some information back home. So with this group coming into this big picture, we will all get together and be working along with you. Our hand is open, we welcome you, and we expect that you should also be calling upon us, and we'll be there. So we know that we are all doing it, we are all going towards Liberia. This is Liberia, and what can we do so that tomorrow when we get back there, or people that know us, the brothers and sisters that went back there, what have they been doing? It's not only just for a single country, it's not only just for an individual, but for the whole picture of that nation. That's other people who have been there before have set example, like our brother was just saying it. A lot of them are there, but we can't come here and just give them their own history, can go in detail of these things. So that's just how it starts. So I do appreciate that, and we are hoping to work with you, and you're welcome. And all the last thing I want to say is, those that have been put into power today, I hope this is a delegation given to you by a group of people. You have to do that task and make sure you do it with your name, because anything you are doing today, we are looking at you. And this person was there, what did he do? Make sure that you do it so that people will have good saying about you. This is how the community look like. So we all appreciate that, and we're all willing to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joe Roberts. If you see the name Zokakia, it simply means let's take care of each other. What a really good thing. If we all take care of each other, the world's going to be a very beautiful place. We have Madame Masa Fobia, President Women of Vision. Madame Fobia here. Okay. Next person we want to call is, he's a young man with kind of strong vision, and every time I talk with him, his charisma just rubs off me. I'd like to invite Mr. Sekou Kesede, President of Lanching Association.
Systematic.
First of all, on behalf of the Lanching Association of Queensland, I'm very pleased to be here this evening. And before proceeding any further, just going back to our brother's book, as a part of the book was read, I was taken to the edge of my seat. Some level of knowledge has been imparted into my empty coconut. He talked about love. It's very simple. It's a common sense. For those of you who are married, why did you marry your wife in the first place? Because you loved her. And that reminds me, according to a philosopher, a human entity is the most complex and social entity. The man you know now couldn't be the man you knew 5 or 10 minutes ago. So I'm not going to procrastinate your time too much. On behalf of the Lanching Association, we say a big thank you to you, especially the organizer. And Lanching can coexist with Comslib, Liberia Incorporated, sorry if I may say that way, including any other subgroup of groups within the wider Queensland Liberian community. Two critical concepts must be implemented: respect and tolerance. And respect has to be used interchangeably. Tolerance, you must be tolerant to get along with other people. So we are here day in and day out to work with you. So based on the multiplicity of views or speeches, I'm not going to be long. Thank you very much. We are here day in and day out, as I said before, to help you, achieve what's supposed to be achieved. And as I said before, this is a brilliant initiative. The first non-governmental organization to be established in our Liberian community. This is a golden legacy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, our program.
My people are talking. What did I say? I said, when I talk with him, part of his charisma always comes. And I just like to a lot of the executive of this organization are Liberian. Our focus is not just within the Liberian community. As you can see, Madam Marie Francis Mukamurigo. You see the way I'm pronouncing the name because I'm being careful. Because I'm from the other side of the continent, and she's from the other side of the continent. And we want to thank you for all of your nice and kind words. And now we'd like to call upon Madam George Taylor, President, Liberian Women Association of Queensland.
Okay, I like it when people put me on the spot. Hi everyone. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. I'm Joyce, and behind every group, there's always something positive or positive motive. There will be other issues that we, challenges and everything else, but behind every group is always something that made that idea came up. So I can't say much, but I'm just really glad when I heard of, when I talked to Michael, oh there he is. When I talked to Michael about this organization, I was quite excited actually because I'm very passionate about making a difference in everyone that I come across. If I come across everyone, if I meet you today, I'm sure there's a reason why we came together. And if I can make a difference in any way, I do. And imagine few of us get together for a particular reason. I know today, the launch was here, I missed a bit, but before we leave here, I'm sure we get an idea of what this group is about. But I'm sure it's positive and it's going to make a difference in not just their lives, but the community in Australia and back home. So yeah, I'm really proud to be put on the spot. So thank you and good luck with everything.
We now open the platform to receive the co-chairman of our board of advisors to give the vote of thanks, and that is Mr. Jacob Harley Lanching. So please put your hands together and welcome Mr.
Thank you very much. I will start by expressing my apology for being late for this program. This was due to circumstances beyond my control, but I'm happy that I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do tonight. That is to give people thanks. Permit me to appreciate our keynote speaker for tonight, for accepting our invitation to come to speak to us, even though I missed the speech. But I know it was something you said, to us, and we will take it as a lesson. I'd like to express my thanks and appreciation to all our community leaders that have come to grace this occasion. Without your presence, I don't think this program would have been so successful as it has been. I would like to say that words are inadequate to express our sense, to communicate our sense of gratitude for gracing this occasion. I'd like to thank all of you who have left your busy schedule or the busy schedule to be here tonight. Finally, I'd like to express my thanks and appreciation to the MC who have done most of the talking here tonight. If you sum all his talking together, it would be more than what everybody has said. I say thank you, Mr. MC, for that. And I'd like to thank all of you, all of those that were involved in preparing this program. Not forgetting the comrade, our induction officer. I want to appreciate you for leaving Canberra or Sydney to come all the way, honoring our invitation. Thank you very much. I enjoy your time. I'll be one of you to buy a boat. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you very much. The program has almost come to an end. If you see the overlay, there are quite few pictures and video taking that has to be done. And for those of our guests that came, please don't go away. We got a bit of refreshment for you. If you go away and leave it, we don't want to throw the food away. It's because of you that we prepare the food. So please stay and take something so that those who prepare it can be appreciated.